Hey, what's up, guys? Long time no see. Since being in good standing again with Konami and I can play events again, I am relearning how to play the game, and what better way to do that than with a card like Branded Fusion in the deck. So you can look at my build if you want. This not really. I'm starting this video off with talking about the extra deck. You can look at the main deck right now, but I'm just trying a bunch of different things at my locals. Working on this new series that I'm dropping soon. But as far as this specific video is going to go, I want to start it off by just kind of talking about the space and the extra deck, and then we're going to get into the bread and butter of the actual video, so bear with me. Okay, so I think everything down here is basically mandatory in this deck. I think this deck has to play these 12 cards, maybe 11 of these cards. Maybe you can get away with playing one of these or one of these. But I think for the most part, this is all pretty standard. So what that says is we get 3 slots to really kind of do what we want. So let's start with Super Poly. We're going to go with, if we're playing Super Poly, there are 2 other cards that you have to play, which is going to be Garura and it's going to be Mudragon. Like, this is it's non-negotiable. And then if you want to play Guilty Gearfried, I think that's probably one of the other best Super Poly targets right now. It's not very good against Infernoble simply because of Angelica, so Super Poly will basically always fizzle, but it is good against SP and Baron because they're both warrior monsters and they both have different attributes. So you're definitely going to be clearing that board if your opponent has it up, if they went for whatever. And a lot of people are playing Baron SP right now. So what I'm currently doing is as the following. This right here, I'm playing 2 Super Poly and I've got these 3 in here. But I don't think, that's not necessarily correct. That's not necessarily always going to be right, whatever the case may be. But I definitely think if you're playing Super Poly, these 3 or these 2 are mandatory. And then you kind of have that last slot to be like, okay, cool, is the SP Baron really a thing for me? Is it real? Is SP Baron real? Chat, is this real? And if you don't feel like it is, take that out, and then you have 2 other options. You have Superstar Slayer, Typhon, Sky Crisis. I think he's pretty good, honestly, especially if you can only fit one other extra deck monster in your deck, and you don't want to lose to D-Barrier or something, or you just want to have a different type of monster in there. I think he's pretty solid. And then obviously SP is probably the best Link 2 monster that we have out right now. And with not a lot of room in your extra deck, if you are playing Super Poly and you had to choose one Link monster to put in, I think SP is going to take that home every day. If you want to go with Typhon, or if you want to go with an Exceed, it's obviously going to be Typhon. And if you want another Super Poly target, I think Guilty Gearfried is definitely the choice. Other than that, you definitely do have 3 free. Like, if you're not playing Super Poly, you have 3 free slots. So your extra deck can look something like this, with SP and I don't know, maybe even IP or Dark, something of the nature. It also depends on your build. If you have Brandon and White in your deck, you're probably going to be putting Red Eyes Dragoon or Dark Dragoon in your extra deck. So that's just something to think about when moving on more into the content of this video. And I don't want to waste any more of your guys' time, so let's get into the actual video starting now. So first up, what I want to showcase with this video is essentially the different routes that you can take off of the Branded Fusion when you activate it. There's a lot of controversy as far as it's super complex. Like, do I want to play Springans Kitt? If I play Springans Kitt, what's the best follow-up spell after Branded Fusion to search? Is it Branded in red? Is it Branded in white? Am I setting up a Versago play so I can, use the other Chimera Fusion to make the other beast to dump Versago to the graveyard, then special Kitt, grab Brandon in white, banish the Versago and the Albaz or whatever to make to make the Dragoon. So with this, I'm actually going to go over what I think are the most optimal routes to choose from, and then from there, I think it really kind of depends on what the meta looks like and what your choices should be. So the first one, we're going to go activate Branded Fusion, and we're going to send the Albaz and the Gazelle, and then we're going to special summon the Renbrum. Gazelle is going to trigger. We're going to search Mirror Sword, or Coddle. Discard Coddle, and then we're going to search the Mirror Sword. Normal the Mirror Sword. So we're on summon number 2 now, by the way. So this is technically important. And we're going to special the Berfomet. Berfomet's going to search Chimera Fusion. And we're going to search the Kitt here because we've already used Gazelle, so Gazelle won't be relevant for the rest of this turn. And Kitt being a beast is relevant as well. So we're on summon 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we got summon 3. Special Kitt. We're on summon 4. Now here's where I think this card is actually really good. Blazing King. So, and then we got to put a card on the bottom of our deck. So why is this card good? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad every single one of you asked. This card reads, choose one fusion monster you control that mentions Fallen of Albaz as material, negate the effects of all other face-up cards currently on the field until the end of this turn. The other effect doesn't matter. What this means is if your opponent, you have your Renrum on board, but if your opponent has Forbidden Droplet, if your opponent has Dark Ruin or more for whatever reason, if your opponent has Evenly Matched, Lightning Storm, you're going to be protected. You're going to be protected. While on the other hand, if you were going a Versago play in this route, so you would be searching Brandon and White, which I'll be showing you guys next to show you how the hand will look after that. You'd basically be ending an Omni-Negate Dragoon instead of an Omni-Negate Trap card, but the Omni-Negate Dragoon is going to cost you a card in your hand as well, but it's also more susceptible because if your opponent decides to tribute your Dragoon with a Kaiju, or your board with Lava Golem, or they chain Forbidden Droplet, or they start with Dark Lord or no more, Dragoon isn't good. You know, you don't get to use Dragoon. And then you can say, oh, well, what if they tribute your Renbrum? And I'm glad you asked that, because if they do end up tributing your Renbrum, then you're going to be able to banish your Renbrum to special Fallen of Albaz, to trigger Fallen of Albaz, to take a monster that they control by discarding a card, and then putting another monster on your board that has the name Fallen of Albaz, that lists Fallen of Albaz as material. So your Omni-Negate is still going to be live. So let's finish out this play. So this was 1 summon, 2 summon, 3 summon. This is 4 summon. And then you're going to activate your Chimera Fusion here. So you're always going to be under Nibiru in this situation. Always going to be under Nibiru in this situation. It's just one of those things that you have to say, you know, better have it. But this will be Chainlink 1, Baphomet will be Chainlink 2. We're going to get our Mirror Sword back here. We're going to activate Chimera Fusion to add this to our hand. And then we're going to just end up setting this and this. We're going to pass our turn. If they don't have Nibiru, we're going to continue to their draw phase. We're going to activate Mirror Sword in their draw phase because this is going to avoid triple talents. It's going to avoid triple tactics talents, but it's not going to avoid thrust, which is kind of relevant because if they do have thrust, then they're going to use it anyway. And if they have talents, you're not going to be under the talents. So because the effect is happening in the draw phase. And then you're going to special out a Big Wing Baphomet. You're going to then search the Gazelle because Gazelle is live again, and you're going to search another Chimera Fusion. So more often than not, move to standby phase, move to main phase. Here we're going to have our Omni-Negate. So if our opponent starts with, let's say, a Lightning Storm, you know, you don't want to lose your Chimera Fusion for no reason whatsoever. So we're going to do this. We're going to turn off their Lightning Storm. If they move on to their battle phase, then you're going to activate Brightest Blazing Branded King, and then your opponent is going to lose out of there evenly. So there's a lot more flexibility with that, in my opinion. You still have your Mirror Sword Knight in the graveyard too, and your Coddle in the graveyard as well. So for Chimera King to be able to, or for them to be able to negate a monster effect of that monster they control, or your opponent targeting any of your cards that you control. And then you obviously have your Chimera Fusion, so you know you start using some of these effects. Boom! You want to get rid of your Chimera. You have 2 monsters on board. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna go into a Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera is going to be Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, Gazelle, Chainlink 3, Big Wing Baphomet. Just special back, you know, just Illusion, search an Illusion. We'll search this bad guy. Doesn't really matter. Draw a card, pop 2. So what do we have here? We just got rid of 2 of their cards, and your opponent discarded a card at the end of your last turn. So that's another card they're playing down. So that puts them at 3 cards in hand, most likely somewhere around there. You still have Renbrum's effect if they do manage to make it into the extra deck. If they clear your Renbrum, like I said earlier, you still have the Albaz to special summon off the Renbrum. Boom, discard a card. Take their monster. If it's an extra deck monster, you know, you make the Mirror Jade. If it's a dark monster, you make Libellion, then you get to make Mirror Jade. Or if it's a light monster, you get to make Albion, and then you get to, you know, banish to to make the Lubellion or get into Mirror Jade regardless. Then you have a non-targeting Banish, and this is what your hand or field is going to kind of look like. If you haven't used Brightest Blazing King yet, then you're going to be able to use this for another problem card. So, in my opinion, I think the Kitt searching the Blazing Branded King route is supreme. I think it's very good. I think it's very, very good. So let's look at the alternative if this is not Brightest Blazing Branded King of the deck and it's branded in white. All right, so start right off the back. If you do play the Versago package, you're going to have to play Versago, so which means you're going to have to play an additional card. So you're going to replace Blazing King with branded in white, and then you're going to have to add Versago. So you're automatically playing one more card in your deck. So my last list that I was showing you guys, or in the last combo, was 40 cards. I'm playing Versago, so now we're at 41. You can do the math on that to see how statistically that really works for you guys. But we're going to start off the exact same way, going into Rinbrum. Rinbrum should also always be in defense mode because you're not playing branded opening to protect board clears during your opponent's turn. So, didn't want to special summon. We're going to do this to add the Codal. And then we're going to add this. I'll do it the correct way. So this is summon 2, activate effect. This is going to be summon number 3, Performant. Then we're going to search the Kitt and the Chimera Fusion. Here we go into summon number 4. And we're going to search branded in white here. And we're going to put a card on the bottom of our deck. And then we're going to go for summon number 5 here. And it is going to be Chimera King. Here, we're going to trigger this. It's Chainlink 1, and then Chainlink 2. Special summon this back. Then we're going to activate Chimera Fusion. Put this in our hand. And then we're going to go ahead and we have to do the other. We have to use this so that we can get our Versago into the graveyard. So here's Performant. I don't know if it really matters. You're going to have to activate Performant to send Versago because he is a fiend. And then now we get to activate branded in white. So we get to do let me go. A little bit of lag here. There we go. Banish. And banish because he's going to copy the name of Dark Magician for Dragoon. So here we are. We're already past Nibiru. We were past Nibiru before we even got to this performance. So you're still in Nibiru range before Dragoon even hits the board, which means them having Nibiru, it just doesn't. It's not beneficial because you're already past 5. I think we're on like summon 8 here at Dragoon. So also in this play, you don't get your Chimera Fusion to set on your board because you had to use it twice, and this is once per turn to add back. So we'd simply be moving into our end phase. We'd be moving into our end phase, and then opponent's turn, draw phase. The best case scenario here, this is live. You can go and grab this banish this to special Mirror Sword, and then Mirror Sword contribute itself to get you another Performant from deck. But then that still doesn't solve a problem here because you still have Chimera Fusion would be in your hand, so you don't have anything set here. You just have an Omni negate, the Rinbrum negate. Rinbrum leaves the field, it's into the graveyard. You don't have the Fallen of Albaz, it's just super subpar. The alternative to this play is that you make Lubellion, but if you make Lubellion, you have to discard a card to make the Red Eyes Dragoon, and then also the Fallen of Albaz is still not in the graveyard. So this is obviously just the smarter option to use. If you're playing a list that plays one Fallen of Albaz, then your Albaz is basically gone for the game. Actually, I think it's just gone completely because you're not able to make a Lubellion to put it back into the extra deck. So ultimately, I don't think the branded and white route makes more sense than playing the Blazing King, because if you play the Blazing King route, you don't have to play branded and white, and you don't have to play Versago, which means you get to play one less card. You're going to have another card in your hand and you're going to still have an Omni Negate, and you're going to be able to have Branded and White's, Chimera Fusion set to the field to have more interactions during your opponent's turn. Yeah, you still have Mirror Sword and Kodal for the use of, the Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast to activate their effects, but that's, that's not getting you a lot in today's meta. So we're going to move on to the next scenario. All right, so this one we're going to actually use Branded in Red for this situation. What we're going to switch off of Kitt. So we're going to Branded Fusion. Set our regular play up here. Make Rinbrum. Gazelle's gonna trigger. Gazelle's gonna search Coddle. We're gonna search. Then we're gonna add this to hand. We're gonna normal summon it. We're gonna tribute it. We're gonna special perform it. Perform gonna do its thing. We're on 3 summons right now, by the way. Not really relevant because we're pretty much always gonna be on 5 summons doing this. We're gonna search Kitt and we're gonna search Branded in Red. So what Branded in Red does, I guess I'll just show you. So here we are moving into 5 summons. Everything is pretty standard here. We're gonna trigger Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. We're gonna special summon our illusion monster. We're on summon 6 now, and then we're gonna get our Chimera Fusion back. And now we're gonna set Branded in Red, and we're gonna set Chimera Fusion. We're gonna get our end phase. We're gonna rip a card out of your opponent's hand. If they had no hand traps, then they're playing with 4 cards. Draw for turn. They're at 5 cards. We're gonna tribute the Mirror Sword here. We're gonna special perform it, and we're gonna search Gazelle, and we're going to search the other Chimera Fusion. Our opponent is going to go into some plays here. I don't know what their plays are going to be. I don't know what this is really going to consist of, but we're going to take this at face value here. They put a monster on board. I'm going to use the effect obviously here. If they go into the extra deck for some reason with Rinbrum up, you still get an effect here. You get to bounce. You get to hit another card on the field, another monster on the field to the hand. That could be useful if they have another one. If they don't, you can simply just bounce your big performance. Doesn't really matter. But we're going to focus on the Branded in Red here. So what Branded in Red can do in this situation is, and most of the time, you would want to, I'll just do this a little easier for you guys. Most of the time, after you use Rinbrum's effect, you're going to want to use the Rinbrum, the Rafamet, and the Gazelle here to make the Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera Chainlink 1, Gazelle Chainlink 2, Rafamet Chainlink 3. We're going to trigger this here. We're going to search another Snaky Boy. Maybe if we're not lagging on solo mode. We're going to search another Snaky Boy. And then we're going to draw one, pop 2. Like if your opponent extended into something. Perfect. But here we have our Branded in Red still set. Now if your opponent goes to make a monster, put it on their board. If it's a dark, light, or an extra deck monster, trigger Rinbrum, special Albaz, trigger Albaz, discard, take their monster. If it is for this situation, it's a dark monster. Everybody plays dark monsters. We are going to simply do Lubellion. We're going to trigger Lubellion. We're going to discard a card. And then this way, we can actually shuffle back in a Rinbrum and then a dark monster. So here we go for a Dragostapelia. We can make a Dragostapelia here. And then we still have Branded in Red to add Fallen of Albaz to the hand. And we'll just, for shits and giggles, we'll just do this to make it really easy. We can banish these guys, and we can make our Mirror Jade. So with this route, we still have 4 cards in hand. We have a monster effect negate now. We cleared 2 cards that our opponent controlled. We get a non-targeting banish, and we used our Mirror Sword Knight to negate a monster effect that our opponent had, and we still have Coddle on board, a live Coddle if they're trying to target us. And I think that's obviously a lot more value than putting Versago into your deck and adding an extra card into your deck. 100% better than the Versago route. So let's get into the other alternative. All right, now this one we're going to showcase one of my favorite cards ever, Branded Lost. And this way we're playing around Nibiru. So here we go with Branded Fusion. All of these players are going to start with Branded Fusion because Branded Fusion is just the best card in the game. It facilitates so much, and they're going to have to put this card to 2 or 1 very, very, very soon. The more support that comes out in the future, the the crazier this card gets, honestly. Like any other support of any other archetype. Like we get the Fire King support here soon, and they're winged beasts, so you can make Rindrum still. I don't really know how good that would be, but you can still do it. So search Coddle, send it to the graveyard, search Mirror Sword Knight, normal summon Mirror Sword Knight. We're on summon number 2, activate effect, summon number 3. We're going to grab Kitt, and we're going to grab Chimera Fusion. So here we go. We are on summon 3. That is very important now. Now that's very important. Summon number 4 is going to be Kitt. We're going to search Branded Lost. And we are going to put down and on the deck. We're going to activate Branded Lost right now while we're on summon 4. We're going to activate Chimera Fusion for Chimera King. Now, this is summon number 5, but your opponent is under Branded Lost, so they cannot respond to the summon of your fusion monster. So Chimera is going to be Chainlink 1. Big Wing is going to be Chainlink 2, targeting Mirror Sword, and then Branded Lost is going to be Chainlink 3, which means you get to fully resolve this uninterrupted. You get to search Mercurier. You get to special Sword Knight, and then at the end phase, you're going to be able to rip a card. Now you're on summon number 6, but you have an effect negate. You have an effect negate now, so which means you can play through Nibiru with this route. Barring that there are no other set cards you have in your hand, you add back Chimera Fusion. You set the Chimera Fusion. In phase, you rip a card out of your opponent's hand. You are now Nibiru proof. If they want to use Nibiru on you, then whatever. Then that means they're going to be starting their turn with what, 4 cards. If they're not, then you have another monster effect negate because you have the Rindrum. But we come into problems with that. So we're going to activate Mirror Sword. Activate Mirror Sword, special summon the other Baphomet, do the regular thing, search Gazelle, and search the Chimera Fusion here. All that was activated in the draw phase, so we're safe from tactics, but we're not safe from thrust, but we were never going to be safe from thrust, so it doesn't really matter. And then, here's the thing. If our opponent does out the Rindrum, if they do out the Rindrum, it matters how they out it. If they kaiju it. If they kaiju your Rindrum here, for example, I don't know why they would. I don't know why people would be playing kaijus right now in a game 1 situation. I don't know, but just say if they did, they could. Then now your Mercurier is no longer good. No longer good to activate. However, you still have Branded Lost up. You still have your Mirror Sword Knight, your Coddle in the graveyard, and you have Chimera Fusion set. What does that mean for us? It means that we get to use some of these effects. Stop a monster effect from your opponent still happening. If they do go into their extra deck at any time, you get to. This is live. Your Fallen of Albaz is live. They're under Lost, so there's almost nothing they can reply with. You're going to sit here, and you're going to take their extra deck monster, make a Mirror Jade. Depending on your build, you might have something else to search. You might not. In this situation, I don't have anything else to search, so that's fine with me. Now you have priority as well on your opponent to activate and on summon and on in the summon window, so your opponent cannot respond with anything. You can send your Albion or whatever the case may be. Then your Mercurier is now live again for another effect negation. You already used 1 effect negation, now you have another effect negation. But most importantly, you still have Chimera Fusion that you haven't used. Your opponent put 2 monsters on board or 2 cards on board you don't want to deal with? Perfect. You're going to use these 3 monsters, and you're going to make Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera Chainlink 1, Gazelle Chainlink 2, Baphomet Chainlink 3, and you know the deal. We're going to do that. Special Snaky Boy, search Snaky Boy, search Snaky Boy, draw 1 card, non-targeting, selecting, popping 2 cards your opponent controls, while still having the Mercurier in hand if your opponent is pushing. Now, I definitely do think this is a very good route, but this also runs into the problem of you have to play 2 more cards instead of the first situation where you're just playing the Branded King. But this is all speculation, definitely dependent on your locals and what you guys are seeing a lot of. But that, I mean, as far as the Branded Chimera choices go, I think that basically covers all the ones that logically make sense and that will get you further into a a grind game with your opponent, or I shouldn't say grind game. I should say checkmating your opponent. Most of these plays are a way to whittle your opponent's resources down to almost nothing, but it's up to you to find out what your play style is and what you prefer to do, and most importantly, if you have an event coming up or you have specific problem decks in your area, what you want to deal with. So until next time, guys, thank you guys very much.